Cool. So, yeah, we are back after I accidentally stopped rather than pausing that recording. But yeah, so as you see kind of um, the void stretching out before you. Again, just as a kind of reminder, the question that we are answering now, or looking to answer now, is where must you travel to in the fragrant void, and what must you sacrifice to end the ritual? So this one's going to be like a relatively sort of open-ended type one. So as I say, you're able to traverse the void and visit the different places contained herein. This is going to be kind of a bit abstract at this point. And I think the comparison that I made earlier to Persona is probably a good sort of guide to this. Not that I've actually played any of the Persona games myself, but just from what I know of them, think of this as a kind of like combination of a sort of mind space and alternate dimension type setup. So if you can kind of think of somewhere that you want to go, and something you might like to try and look for, we can sort of just see how you see where you wind up, see how this all plays out. As I said, you will absolutely, you can see kind of these globes of shining of sort of light amongst the starscape that you're suspended in. I guess I'm going to ask, I'll say Fujisawa. What do you have a thought on where you might like to? Oh, or yeah, if you've got an idea, Priyanka, then yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that I would probably like to come across Madame Volpe. And so if some sort of like fragrant void, time space continuum stuff happened where I was accidentally separated from the others happened and threw me into them, I would be fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think I'm going to ask you to make me the night move as you traverse the void, looking for Alessandra Volpe. This will be a roll with sensitivity, I think. What are you afraid will happen if you lose your nerve or fail here?
I am afraid that the void will separate me from my allies and that I will never see them again.
I think it's worse than that. Not only will you be lost to the void, but the entity that dwells here, that you have in fact encountered before, if possibly not a I can't remember if that was actually something that happened or was just averted by a mask, but regardless, the entity that lives herein will notice your intrusion and begin to stalk your companions. But yeah, if you would like to make that roll, and we'll see how it goes.
Can I go ahead and mark an item from my personal quarters to take advantage on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to mark my hand-painted custom tarot deck, which I got to unmark from my last level up.
Awesome.
And that just looks like me flipping tarot cards as I journey through these long corridors and secret spaces.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, so my highest dice were a 6 and a 2, so that's an 8, plus my 3 is a 9, 10, 11.
11, excellent. So yeah, you will, as you sort of begin flipping over the cards, there's a sensation of fast movement, almost like vertigo, sweeps over you. And you find yourself, as I say, it doesn't feel like there's a feeling of motion and of movement, but at the same time, not like you're actually moving, but you will find yourself sitting in a chair in front of a almost like a dressing table with a mirror in front of it, and you're sat there flipping over tarot cards. But as you look into the mirror, you don't see yourself in the mirror, but you see Alessandra Volpe, who is likewise sat in front of a mirror on a dressing table, flipping over tarot cards, and she will make eye contact with you and say, interesting. Hello again, Priyanka. I did not expect to meet you like this, but I suppose I shouldn't have been entirely surprised.
Of course, Madame Volpe. After all, if you weren't going to stop a silly man doing silly things, I had to step in and do it.
Indeed. Well, I think we shall have to see how successful you might be, though I admit I did not anticipate you to go to these lengths to stop us. I perhaps have underestimated you a little, my dear. And she will smile. And I think we'll cut away from there for the moment, and we'll revisit that shortly. But yes, to the remaining three of you, you are sort of, as I said, you're still kind of at the minute hovering above this pool through which you entered, and you will have just seen Priyanka, just like almost her image just flicker for a moment, and then she's just gone, as if she were never there. Though you still have kind of a feeling of connection to her. You can tell that she is still around. It's a sort of you especially Fujisawa, you can still feel that kind of, like I said, that sense of her presence still being a thing, but you haven't sort of seen where she is. You can't see where she is. Obviously, she's just seemingly vanished. But yeah, what do you do?
I think that for Fujisawa, this scent of burning in the air, I think it reminds her of the dream she most recently had, where she met with Greco. And given that this is sort of like hazy, dreamlike place, I think she is going to try to seek Greco out.
Excellent. So yeah, I'm going to ask for the same from you. This will be once again the night move with sensitivity. What are you afraid will happen if you lose your nerve or fail here?
I think she's afraid that she'll encounter her sister instead.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's worse than that. You will encounter your sister, and she will consume your essence, your soul, however you choose to determine it, and will return to your companion's side, uh, disguised as you, essentially.
It sounds about right.
So yeah, if you would like to make that roll.
Sure thing. Sensitivity, right?
Sensitivity, that's correct, yeah.
All right, that's a 9.
9. Okay, so you will likewise, there's that sense of vertigo, that sense of sudden movement, and you will find yourself in a it's a big sweet shop. Like almost everything in here is just like slightly too large. Big jars filled with brightly coloured sweets of all natures, and you see Greco is in here. He has sort of a big like candy striped paper bag that he's eating something from. He's sat with a couple of other children sort of his age. They seem to be chatting about nothing in particular, and then he will start and look up at you. Miss Fujisawa, this is strange. I've never had this happen to me like this before. And he kind of glances around, and then kind of steps over to you, and even as he walks over to you, the couple of children that he was talking to just kind of fade into nothingness.
I assure you, this has never happened to me either. Um,
No, go ahead, Miss Fujisawa. Sorry, I'm a little taken aback.
My companions and I are here to, well, to take care of some important business. Do you know how this place works?
A little, I think. I'm not sure exactly. I know that I think everyone has a link to this place somehow, even if most can't feel it. Dreams are more real here, I think, or maybe more real isn't the right word. I mean, but it's how I travel between dreams, through the space in between them. If you think about a place hard enough, or you can usually go there, or somewhere like it, I find.
Ah, and in your travels, have you seen a man, and she'll kind of describe Lord Fauconberg and his golden curls, etc.
And I think I'll ask for an information move here with presence, please.
Let me look at my personal quarters really quickly.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
No, I'll just roll.
Sure thing. Sure thing.
That's a 10.
A 10. Excellent. He will nod and say, I think I know who you mean, the man in gold. Recently, things have been changing here. There's been more of a sense of, I don't know, purpose, maybe. Is that the right word? It might be. A sense of there being something happening here. I suppose change. I mean, everything is always changing here, but not in the way that this not in the way that this this change is being. There's something being built here. A pyramid, a giant pyramid that stretches up. Well, I mean, exact dimensions are always kind of difficult here, but you can't miss it if you look hard enough for it.
Izawa nods. That's very helpful, Greco. Thank you. And if you can, I think you might want to stay away from this place for a while. Like I said, there's very important business here, and I don't know what's going to happen. I know we don't know each other very well, but I would like to continue learning from you about this world of dreams. And I just want you to be safe.
Thank you, Miss Russo. I suppose in that case I should probably wake up. I'll let you get out of here first, though. It's not a pleasant experience when someone wakes up when you're in their dream.
All right, I'll take my leave.
And as you are sort of making your exit, you'll just catch a glimpse of your reflection in sort of one of the big glass jars. It's got that slightly distorted funhouse mirror look to it as you do. Mm-hmm. But then you just have that moment of knowing that as you catch the glimpse of your reflection, you realize it isn't your reflection, it's your sister's reflection. And then it just fades again as you move on. But I am going to ask you to take the condition hunted, please.
Sure thing.
And so yeah, I'll return to Lady Camilla and Professor. Yeah, you'll see a very similar thing with Fujisawa, where 1 minute she's there, and then the next she just fades out of existence.
Well, it seems we are running individual errands here in the void, Professor, but no doubt we will regroup. I have an idea. I'm imagining that Lady Camilla years ago was a guest at a maybe a garden party at the Erie, at the Fauconberg estate. And she noticed Lucien at that point. He was, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old. And he was having a hard day. And his mother was trying to console him. And so I'm imagining that Lady Camilla is going to use that memory to somehow get to Lucien and to get at his weaknesses, at his false hopes, at his dreams, at something about him that might give them an edge in dealing with him.
Absolutely.
Maybe going back to his childhood, I don't know.
No, that sounds great. I like that a lot. So I think again, we'll go for the same again. So be another night move to sort of make your way to that memory or that time and place. We'll be with sensitivity though. I'm actually just thinking. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, I think though, if you can use your indomitable, I think on this to use composure rather than sensitivity.
Okay. So that would be.
Oh, and what are you afraid will happen if you?
And what am I afraid will happen?
Lose your nerve or fail here. Yeah.
I think I'm afraid of a backfire, that somehow Lucien will gain entry into my fears or false hopes or dreams or weaknesses.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to say that it is worse than that, and I think in this case it's the sense of it being worse than that is. Not only will Lucien kind of get a glimpse into your psyche, as it were, as you doing it, but he will be able to sick the entity on you. That's the common lurking threat here. But yeah, if you'd like to make that roll, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to use, because I have an idea for it, the ivory horn from my personal quarters. So, Homer said that there were 2 gates to dreams, one made of ivory and one made of horn, and true dreams traveled through the gate of horn, and false dreams traveled through the gate of ivory. And so I think there's a way that this horn supposedly is made from that gate, a piece of that gate, a splinter of that gate, and nice. That gives people access to the false dreams of others. So let's awesome. See. So I'll do 3 die, and then I'll put the +2 afterwards. All right. Okay, there we go.
That's looking good.
That does look good. So that is 13.
13. Excellent. Yeah, so you will find yourself teleported to that day that you remember at the Erie. You'll see you'll see the parents of Lucien, his mother, Lady, I won't say Lady Meredith. I will just double check myself on that one. Yes, Lady Meredith. Obviously, you know, this is a few, well, almost 20 years ago. This memory is from when she's still quite a young woman, probably only about 30, sort of about the same age that Lucian is now. She's very beautiful, has the same golden hair as her son, and dressed in sort of a, you know, a day dress. And she is remonstrating with her husband, who is a burly man and is clearly then they're clearly discussing Lucian, and you know, she's asking him to be kinder to the boy. He's kind of going on about him being cosseted and you know, a mother's boy and this sort of thing. And just in the background, you will see Lucian, as much as you sort of saw him that day, kind of much younger, sitting on the floor. He has a bruise on one cheek, and he is sobbing, sat alone. And I'm actually going to give you, because for that 13 plus, I'm going to give you a clue right now, which is, and because it's appropriate to the situation, a lone child sobbing.
Perfect.
But yes, you may. But you can you can, you know, obviously do more as you wish in this scene.
So I imagine that Lady Camilla actually feels a pang of pity for Lucien, the little boy Lucien. And maybe she goes up to him. If, well, this is a void, anything can happen. And kneels beside him. And this is a younger version, obviously, of Lady Camilla, the version that she would have been then. And although this did not happen. And she says, there, child. No need to cry. Tell me what's wrong. How can I help?
Father's being absolutely beastly again. He says I must be more like him when I grow up, but I don't want to be a big bully like him. I wish, I don't know, I just wish everyone could be nicer.
And tell me about this. And she reaches out a finger to touch the bruise by his eye. How did this happen? It wasn't your father.
And
Or was it?
yeah, and I think he won't answer, but it's clear that you know, that is the case. Yeah.
My boy, it is a great desire to have all the world be a better place, a gentler place. But we must recognize that there are forces that seek to hurt us, and we must be strong in the face of them. no matter where they come from or who they manifest as. That's a little insight into Lucian. I like that.
And I think I will ask you here to make the information move with
Okay.
presence again. And we'll see how that goes.
Let's see, where did I put that thing? There's- It's an 11.
11. Excellent. And he kind of stands up and goes to an easel, which may or may not have been there, a moment ago, but it's definitely there now. And on the floor next to it, there's a slightly crumpled piece of paper, which he kind of straightens out as best he can. And there is on it, not completely finished, and it is still kind of like a childlike painting, but there is a painting of a sort of fantastical city with a it kind of has a sort of vaguely classical look to it, but with a big towering pyramid set above it. And it says, you can have this if you like. You've been awfully kind to me, my lady. He will hand that to you.
Thank you, my dear. Take good care of yourselves. Now run along and play.
And I think we'll come back around to Professor. So you are have been left alone, floating in the void. What would you like to do?
Yeah, I think there's a sense of movement that slowly transitions into actual footsteps that he then abruptly stops as he comes to the edge of what looks like a cliff. I think it's stony, rocky, but then also as he looks closer, he looks to be standing at the edge of a giant bookshelf. And around him is, he realizes, a giant nest made of shredded up paper. And first he sees the crumpled form of a bird with all white feathers. But then turning their heads, taking notice of him, are some giant falcon chicks. And maybe just one has turned and spotted him at this point.
Excellent. Yeah, I like it. And I think as the falcon yeah, I think as the falcon chick turns towards you, there's a glimmer of intellect in its eye, and it kind of cocks its head and looks you up and down in a way that seems almost more human than bird-like. And I think maybe from inside the nest itself, you catch a glimmer of something gold nestled inside.
Yeah, I think I've got a whole arsenal of weapons, but I think what we see Eloise pull out is Obert Fig's butcher knife, and yeah, he'll defend himself against these creatures.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think if you would like to make the night move, I think this will be with vitality, but you will obviously be at advantage from the knife. What are you afraid will happen if you lose your nerve or fail here?
Ooh, I'm muted.
Oh,
Sorry. I guess that I will either be ripped apart by these creatures or tossed off the edge of the cliff.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is worse than that. I think that you will be feasted upon by these creatures, but it will also the act of feeding on you will essentially only fuel the ritual further and perhaps accelerate Lord Fauconberg's schemes. So if you would like to, if you'd like to make that roll, and we'll see how it goes.
That's a 10.
It's a 10. Excellent. Yes, so you are able to fend. You're able to fend off the creatures. As you like slash at them, they almost seem to melt away like smoke rather than it being kind of a more grisly display. But you're able to press back against them, and you can approach. This nest unmolested, or well, at least not successfully molested, I suppose. You are free to either interact with the bird or investigate the nest or whatever else you would like to do here.
Yeah, I guess I'd go look at. There was a glint of gold in the nest.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this will be an information move, and I think it's probably going to be with reason for just kind of looking through this nest. The chicks have once you've vanquished the creatures that were here, the chicks are kind of like still regarding it in that like oddly human way, but they are not they're not providing any sort of resistance to you. So yeah, if you'd like to make that roll.
got so many items. I wonder if any of these. Yeah, I don't know. None of them make any sense. I didn't remove my extra die though. So you want me to just roll it again? You want to just take the first 2 dice?
Yeah, just take the first 2 dice. That's fine.
Then that is a 10.
10. Excellent. So yeah, you will find what's in the glint of gold you'll actually find is a numerous golden feathers scattered throughout the nest. None of them seem to belong to the birds that you can see here. They all seem to be relatively normal looking falcon chicks, but these feathers are yeah, and golden. I mean, they're like literally made of solid gold. But yeah, there's sort of a handful of them scattered amongst the nest, which are able to gather together. And with that, I think we are going to head back to Fujisawa. So not Fujisawa, so Priyanka and Alessandra Volpe. So yeah, I think kind of where we left you, she was sort of well, hadn't gone so far as to make any active threats, as it were, but it's clear at the minute that she is intending to oppose your schemes, obviously, as you would have expected. But I guess my question is what are you wanting to kind of achieve here, and how are you going to go about that, Priyanka?
So Priyanka plans to basically taunt Madame Volpe into revealing some sort of information about how to foil Lord Fauconberg's plot by using the Seven Devils' power to inspire an intense sense of envy within her.
Ooh, excellent.
I will be basically like dressing her down and making it myself sound much more important and powerful than she is.
Awesome. So yeah, if you'd like to make that the role for your Seven Devils power, we'll see how that goes.
Sure. I'm also going to mark my my familiar Archimedes, who has powers in uncovering forbidden knowledge. So I'm doing this by using my tarot cards to
Sure.
basically like reveal her past failures. And so
Awesome.
And then so that means with advantage. Okay, I got a 15.
Well, that will certainly succeed. So yeah, awesome. So you will absolutely fill her with envy, and I think she says, I can tell this has always come so easily to you, hasn't it? The call of the darkness. I had to work for years to perfect my art. And she's still kind of turning over tarot cards as she's speaking to you. But no, you just have access to this power through your blood, your birth, you are no different to those that we will wash from this land.
And as Madame Volpe is flipping tarot cards, I'm flipping them over match for match, but doing it much more lightly, much more effortlessly. And I say, Madame Volpe, I'm sorry to tell you this, but no matter how hard you work, I see nothing but more failures in your future. I have charted the course of your history, and I can see every moment where you have dropped things, made things impossible for yourself. You strive and you struggle, and still you bring them forward. In fact, you tried to allay yourself with the strongest person you could find, and still found someone not nearly as strong as those who have real power. You will continue to fail. You will always fail when matched up against those of superior power and intellect. I'm sorry to tell you that your efforts shall always be in vain. And then under my breath, I'm still like chanting the prayers to inspire the envy that like oozes out of the mirror.
Excellent. And yeah, I'll ask you to make the information move, please, but with presence. But yeah, you'll be rolling this at advantage from your manipulation of her envy.
Okay. Okay, so that's a 11, 12, 13, 14.
Excellent, excellent. So with that, yeah, you will so the clue you'll get is essentially kind of as you've already described, is you will sort of notice after a while that she's sort of still pulling the same cards in sequence over and over again. And these cards are obviously a prediction of a glorious victory, which we'll see. But you will see the cards that make this up, and that will obviously give you some insight into their plans. So yeah, that's I've put the clue there of tarot cards predicting glorious victory onto the mastermind threat. So
I think just to like wrap up the scene, like with her like being like, of course we will ultimately win. I think the thing to say to her is that, oh my dear, you seem to think you're the one reading the future here, but I'm looking at your cards and all I see is disaster.
And I think that she will kind of lash out at you, and there's almost like the sound of like glass breaking, but her hand doesn't sort of pass through onto your side of the mirrors, though there will be a kind of a ripple, and the scene you're in sort of fades away. And at that moment, the four of you will all be drawn back together again, floating as you were before, above the pool through which you entered. So I think what we'll do here is we will take another break in a moment, and probably about 10 minutes. And then we will come back. I think it's probably a good point to, when we come back, to look at answering our final question. So if you want to be giving that some thought over the break, that would be cool. And then we can start to move towards the end game, as it were. So just to kind of outline sort of where I'm thinking of going, is obviously if we can get that question answered, I'd like to we'll obviously do the resolution of the threat itself, and I'd like to give a bit of time after that for kind of both the last whatever last masks we have to go through before the end of the session, and like little epilogues for characters. So that's kind of what I see being like the next bit. Obviously, as well, we will be looking to finish up kind of on the hour. Well, not the hour just coming, but in an hour's time. Pretty much on the hour because Jose has to be away. So, but yeah, if we say come back at like 5 past, and then we'll pick things up there. But see you all in a few minutes. So yes, as I say, you will find yourselves reunited once more. And I will give you a moment for any words you wish to share amongst yourselves, and then also for beginning to answer the question. So again, just to remind you, the question specifically you're looking to answer is where must you travel to in the fragrant void, and what must you sacrifice to end the ritual? Which will, yeah.
I just imagine Lady Camilla raising up the drawing that she has of the Lucien's drawing and saying, I had success. Can you all say the same?
Priyanka is shuffling their tarot cards and says, something of the kind. I have seen the rough framework of their plot in Madame Volpe's tarot cards, and I believe I can pick apart its seams.
I've heard that he is building something in the astral plane, a pyramid of some kind. Perhaps a monument to something. Perhaps a tomb.
I've gathered these, and I show them the collection of golden feathers. Not certain what their purpose is, but there's some significance to them.
Should we theorize? Or no, that's not what it's called. What's it called? Answer a question.
So it seems to me like the place to stop the ritual is at the apex of the pyramid. So, I could even parlay seeing the tower tarot card in Madame Volpe's spread, which would indicate that that is the place where their downfall could be brought up.
Mm-hmm. Nice, I like that. Sorry, just marking off the ones that we used last time. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
And perhaps the pyramid is located in this fantastical city that might be like a kind of twisted mirror of London. Maybe the pyramid is located where the Palace of Westminster would be in the London of our world.
As for what we need to sacrifice to end the ritual, those gold feathers remind me of the story of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun.
Yeah,
melted his feathers and fell to his death. So maybe it's something to do with the things we're most proud of.
Yeah, maybe proud is his downfall, which might be Priyanka's cue.
Awesome. So that would take you up to a roll with a +2. There are still both mastermind clues and a couple of other clues on the threat itself if you want to incorporate any of those, but I think you've got kind of a solid concept there.
Could
thinking-
we could we use the sacrificial dagger as like a weapon that must be used to stop the ritual?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And part of answering the question is we have to determine what has to be sacrificed. Is that
Yep,
correct?
yep. So
Did we do that already?
I believe Darrell suggests there that the feathers implied the Icarus thing. So some sacrificing something you're proud of, essentially, to end the ritual.
Okay.
How you all interpret that is obviously up to you, but and perhaps will also be determined a little by how well or badly this roll goes. So yeah, so that will bring you up to a total of +3. If you want to add anything more in, you might be able to make a case for that now, but otherwise, if someone would like to roll those dice.
I'm wondering if there's any way to put the lone child sobbing into this scenario, but I don't want to push it. But it's something about Lucien's weakness.
I mean, that could go hand in hand with the pride thing. Maybe maybe this whole thing isn't really like, maybe, understanding that his motives are not as, ideologically pure as he likes to believe, or something.
Yeah, he just wants a world where he's the most special and will never be rejected. Or punched in the face.
Yeah. That sounds good.
All right, we're stacking the deck, but what the hell? It's the last thing.
Exactly. So yeah, that gives you a total of +4 on your roll if someone would like to make that roll, and we'll see how it goes.
Not at this time.
I nominate Jose.
Oh shit. Okay. All right, then you share the responsibility. Fine, let's mess it up.
Yes, I will help you.
It's a
Deal with
+4,
the
right?
failure.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, geez.
Well, there we go.
We have been rolling well tonight. I don't want to jinx us. I don't know if we have any more rolls, but
Sorry about that. I was just sneezing. But yes, perfect. Yeah, no, that is a very conclusive success there. So on normally a 12 plus on the on answering a question would mean that there would be involvement by the mastermind in this, though obviously this being the mastermind threat, that kind of goes without saying. However, yes, you will succeed handily. And I think what this will mean is at this point we will essentially you will be able to I'll ask in a minute kind of each of you to describe a bit about how the process of stopping this ritual looks. You will all need to make a sacrifice of some variety, though. Again, because of the level of success rolled here, that will largely be symbolic rather than too costly. Though feel free to go as extreme as you want in your own personal case, but yeah, you're not required for it to be too onerous. And then we will kind of at that point, it will largely be a fait accompli for the threat, but we will still sort of see how that final scene goes and that final confrontation goes. But yeah, so I guess I'll start by framing things up as how you get there. Yeah, once you once you sort of latch onto the idea of this pyramid, you are able to transport yourself there without any difficulty. In fact, once you sort of know where you're going, you're almost being pulled towards it. It's kind of exerting its own gravity on this place. You follow kind of golden streamers of light in the sky to this glorious pyramid that towers up is sort of gold, like it's like it's bathed in sunlight and has that kind of golden glow around it. It's in it is in sort of what looks like a city or laid out around it, which both echoes the kind of the painting that you have on it, but also some of the works of Lucian's that you saw on display at the art exhibition. So I guess I'm going to ask each of you to describe what it is that you're sacrificing and how we kind of see some of Lucian's power being chipped away by your sacrifice. And you can see, like, the other thing I should say, yeah, we can sort of tell, you can feel that this where this pyramid is, it's drawing in power from like I said, from the area around you, and it's clearly channeling it back into the real world, down through the sort of from the apex of the pyramid. But yeah, I'm going to I'll just go around in order, I think, this time, and just ask each of you in turn. So Lady Camilla, what are you sacrificing in order to bring this ritual to an end, and how do we see that impact on the sort of the scene that you're in?
Is there any way you could come back around to me on this one?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
No worries. Fujisawa, how about you?
I think that the sacrifice Fujisawa is going to make is, I think she's always felt this strange kind of almost supernatural connection between herself and Priyanka, like this sixth sense that she would have when Priyanka is in danger. And she never really quite understood what the source of that was. She suspected that it had something to do with these dark shapes she could see lurking around her employer. I think at this moment she is holding the silken omamori talisman in her hand, and I think as she kind of concentrates on it, we see the silk catch fire and begin to burn away, and the little like wooden talisman inside also setting itself aflame, because Fujisawa is not wanting to let go of the connection, but is instead letting go of this sort of prideful notion that she can control the parameters of their relationship. This notion that she is able to keep Priyanka safe in the way that she wants to, she will try, certainly. But she has to kind of let go of the idea that that anything's under her control. She's going to live and let live.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Priyanka.
So the thing that Priyanka is giving up physically is the little black book of psalmody that they are always reading from. And so physically what this looks like is they stand there and they start tearing the pages out of it, and they're reciting prayers and saying, "My faith fails, but I will give myself to prayer because I know you are here and I know you rejoice in my weakness." And what this represents is the Psalms were a way to keep the demons inside quashed and under control. And they're giving up their ability to keep the darkness on a leash, as it were. They're giving up their ability to keep them reined in. And they're going to have to fight a lot harder to maintain control of their own body from now on. But someone recently told them that it was okay if they got a little dirty. So maybe they can see it through. And then physically what this actually looks like is Priyanka's left eye, a second pupil appears in the white of the eye. And there are two pupils in her left eye now.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And yeah, Professor.
Yeah, I think you see, Alois's hand reaching, into his coat and clutching at his mystic amulet and kind of, muttering some kind of incantation under his breath. And as things proceed, it's just clear that is not going to cut it, and he's going to have to, pull the amulet out and hold it aloft and yell these incantations at the top of his lungs in order to be effective.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, Lady Camilla, back around to you.
So I think what Lady Camilla didn't tell Alois about her dream was that in it she was in driving a sword through Lucien, who was the focus of the ritual, and in the process they were both destroyed by the energy that resulted. And so it's her own pride. I mean, I think you figured this out, but Lady Camilla has always thought herself invulnerable and above all things. So in this case, she realizes that she has to give up her pride of continuing to be in that catbird seat, so to speak. And so I imagine that something about the ritual at the top of the pyramid involves a focus of energy through Lucien, and Lady Camilla knows that she has to interrupt that by striking at him, and she knows that will be the end of her.
Awesome. I like it. Thank you very much. So, as you all kind of make your sacrifice, as you all, you can feel the power of this place kind of tearing at you. And as I said, this one of the things you've been aware of in this place is that this is a place of thought as much as anything else. So you can kind of feel the touch as you kind of give up those aspects of yourself to this place. And there will be a tearing as this this sense of like all the energy being pulled into the pyramid and through the pyramid suddenly reverses. There's a huge like gale of wind that rips and tears at you all as you're sort of on there, but you manage to stand firm on the top of this pyramid, and a bright gout of sort of golden flame bursts from the very center of the pyramid, and it leaves in its wake Lucian stood there. He's wearing kind of golden robes that are now very slightly singed around the edges, and he looks between the four of you and says, "No, this was not supposed to be. What have you done?"
My dear boy, this madness must end. The false dreams of a little wounded boy cannot remake a world. And I think she steps forward and draws the that cold iron sword that she has. And as she does that, I think this is a wild place. So I think it appears like Lucian has wings, like falcon wings, spreading out from his shoulders. And I think Lady Camilla has crane wings sprouting out from her shoulders, and they face off. I'm not sure. Yeah, Lucian responds because I don't know, but there's a face off.
Yeah, and he will say, "I am so close. Don't you see I can make the world better for everyone? I can achieve so much, Lady Camilla." And I think he draws a blade of his own. It looks like a kind of almost like a kind of cavalry saber, but sort of has a golden sheen to it that sort of reflects, or not even reflects, but like projects light from it. I did not wish to harm you. I believe that there is still much you and yours can contribute to this world, but I cannot let you stand in my way. And I think he will kind of go to strike you down, Lady Camilla.
Yeah, I'm ready for that final conflict, but if anyone else wants to chime in anything before that happens.
I mean, you did bring it up before, so I think that probably while this is going down, Priyanka is saying one last desperate prayer to the, Prince Lucifer of Hell, who oversees pride, so that it may goeth before Lucian's fall.
Excellent. If you'd like to make that roll, Priyanka, and just see how this goes.
Sure. So I cut that. That's an 11.
Excellent,
The
excellent.
rolling is amazing tonight.
Yeah. Excellent. So yes, you and as you pray, you just see that certainty like come into his sense. No, this is the only way. I am sorry, Lady Camilla, but there is no longer a place for you in this world.
And I am sorry for both of us, my child. And she goes in with raising the sword and to bring it down upon him. The cold iron sword against his sword of light, the light bringer.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I guess are you interested in this being kind of Lady Camilla's last stand?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. In which case we won't bother with dice. That's absolutely fair. So I think as the two of you come together, your both of your blades find their mark in the other. You are both run through and collapse before each other, bleeding on the top of the pyramid, and you can feel the last vestiges of the power in this place starting to kind of level down to a normal background of strange void related thing.
And I imagine feathers, lots of feathers.
Yes,
golden
yes.
feathers and white feathers.
Indeed. And I will turn things over to the rest of you if there are any last moments you would like to have on top of this pyramid before we go into our final narration of masks and epilogues for people.
Priyanka has to run over and throw themselves on top of Lady Camilla and start praying as hard as they can.
I think Hojisawa will run over as well. Less so to pray over Lady Camilla, more to perhaps she holds Priyanka's hand as they do so. There is a sort of sadness to Hojisawa's face, though, although she's not the most expressive of these more negative emotions.
I think Eloise kind of drags Fauconberg's body just away a bit so that we're not gathered around the two of them. We can just, but I think you probably see Eloise take something off of Fauconberg secretly and slip it in a pocket.
Excellent. That's perfect. Thank you all. So we will I believe everyone has a Mask of the Past to narrate, so we'll do those first. Then we'll just have any last epilogues that last little epilogue scene that you want for your character, or your character's absence in the case of Lady Camilla. We'll at this point as well remind people that if you don't have any of your masks of the future marked, your epilogue can involve you retiring to safety away from a Hargrave House if you so desire. If you've marked any of your masks of the future, then that option is beyond you. But yeah, excellent. So I will let you. I won't. I'll let people chime in with their Mask of the Past in whichever order you wish. And then we'll probably do reverse order for epilogues at the end so that we can kind of finish on Lady Camilla or what remains after Lady Camilla. So yeah, but yeah, if anyone wants to jump in with their Mask of the Past, then go ahead.
I can go. So this will be short. I think what you see is the prow of a ship moving through water. It's like right at the water level, and the water is like filthy and it's like disgusting. And there's garbage, but there's also filth in the water. And then the camera moves up the side of the boat, and it's a large steamship, and comes up to the banister. Oh wait, 1 second. I need to do something. Okay, there it is. And then zeroes in on the hand, a woman's hand on the banister. And as it opens up a little bit, you see the girl. Here's her new visage. And she's standing on a steamship that's coming up the Thames. And she's looking out, and as the camera opens up, you see that it's passing the Palace of Westminster, the Houses of Parliament, and I think there's some kind of manifestation like that only the girl can see above the palace, of the rupture of the ritual. Maybe I see it as kind of a black ball with, like, golden light trying to come through it and then collapsing in on itself. And the girl's hand, which was clutching the banister at that moment, releases, and there's a sigh, a deep sigh in her, as she recognizes the fact that Lady Camilla is gone and that there is no one for her to take vengeance upon.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I can go next.
Cool. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a flashback to my young adulthood before I was a servant that shows what a charmed life I lived. I think we see a brief montage. We see Fujisawa walking in the gardens of her husband's house. Technically her house, but she always thinks of it as her husband's. And she is utterly bored, even amidst these like gorgeous green, like floral surroundings. She can't quite convince herself to appreciate them. We see Fujisawa sitting down for meal after meal prepared by her maids. I think the audience would recognize many of these meals as meals that Fujisawa has made for Hargrave House. But she always makes a point of thanking the servants. She clearly feels awkward being served with such attention and such undeserved devotion. And the montage continues. We see her sitting across from the same man day after day. We see that man's kind of sweating form atop of Fujisawa. Her eyes are like fixed blithely on some point of the ceiling, just like waiting for it to be over. And there's just like scene after scene of this kind of upper class domesticity that is mundane and even occasionally beautiful, but hollow. This charmed life that isn't the life that Fujisawa wants for herself at all. This life of golden handcuffs from which she would do anything, even something petty and desperate and destructive, to escape. Yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
I'll go next. So this is a narrative flashback to your young adulthood that shows your first sexual encounter with a dark entity. And finally gonna have that demon sex. So Priyanka has returned to London, to a very well-appointed house in the middle of the city. And the nameplate on the door has her uncle's name on it. And she's sitting in the study, and she is taking a sip of a dark liquid from a crystal goblet, and a man walks in. And it is the same man, a youthful looking, handsome 25-year-old man who was there 15 years ago when Priyanka's mother was worried that something was after her baby, who was there 10 years ago when Priyanka watched as her mother's coffin was leveled into the dirt, and who is here still, youthful and beautiful. And he comes over to her and says, "My dear, I hope that you are ready to continue your education." And as the camera cuts away, you see Priyanka looking to the side, thinking of school, thinking of Marion, thinking of everything and anything else. And then finally, as they are laying there in the dark with the embers of the fire slowly burning out, he whispers into her ear, "It's good that you have some place to go. That will make it easier for when others call you home."
Awesome. Thank you.
You see Eloise now, still at school, but now at university. And I think the only real difference is you see fellow students are maybe more like-minded and more genuine, offers of companionship and friendship that Eloise still mostly rejects in favor of time spent with his books.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And maybe the wrong choice now, given that, but Professor, would you like to give a little, just a little epilogue scene of yourself as you in the aftermath?
I think we see Eloise pushing something under a tarp, through a doorway, and I don't think we had any name for the member of his order that would, his superior, I guess, is what it was referred to as. There, and a hearty handshake, and the tarp is pulled off, and we see the Watley camera has been delivered to the esoteric conclave.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. And Priyanka.
Actually, I have a quick discussion thing. Could we pause the recording real quick? Yeah, I just want to discuss a line. So Priyanka is moving forward from this point onward with a bit of a war raging inside them. The demons who call them home are increasingly fighting for dominance, not just with Priyanka, but with each other. And this has caused more violent outbursts. This has caused more moodiness and depression. This has caused more isolation from people, including from Fujisawa. And I think that we see a constant push-pull of these emotions playing out, the lashing out, and then the sobbing apologies. And I think that the thing that we see is Priyanka disappearing into the night and Fujisawa finding a letter on her nightstand that says, "I am sorry. I cannot be here for you, with you, until I put a stop to what is happening inside me. I hope I will see you again, but I cannot promise it." Hashtag season 2.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And yeah, Fujisawa.
Yeah, I think that we see Fujisawa laying alone in Priyanka's bed. And Priyanka has left her alone. She has been thinking a lot about that final confrontation and the fragrant void and that smell of burning. And there's like all of these complicated emotions roiling inside of her as well. But loneliness, I think, is the chief among them. And so I think as she closes her eyes to fall asleep, she is thinking hard about a place that she has tried for years not to think about at all. And when she opens her eyes, we see that she is in the fragrant void. She's standing in front of the geisha house from her very earliest flashbacks. And the structure of it, it's like completely burnt. There are like ashes kind of suspended in the air around it, like frozen in time. It's surrounded by like bridges over canals that are like filled with this like black void-like water that's full of stars. And in the like kind of decimated building, you can see Kikumi, Fujisawa's sister, playing the shamisen with her back to Fujisawa. And I think as Fujisawa approaches her sister, she's saying, "I don't expect you to forgive me. I know I'm a murderer and a bad person. I don't deserve to be happy. But I still want to be, just once. It's selfish, maybe, greedy. But I felt you getting closer, and I know you want to live again. That you want to do it through me in this body. And I think you deserve that, but I just want a little longer, please." And I think there's like no response from Kikumi, and Fujisawa's like not quite sure what that means, whether Kikumi will give her the time she needs or not. And in a last ditch effort at cultivating some solidarity between them, she pulls out the small book of poetry, which was originally her sister's in the first place. And there's a ribbon marking the place of Kikumi's favorite haiku. And Fujisawa says, "The poet Basho, do you still enjoy him even in death?" And Kikumi nods, and as Fujisawa opens the book, they read in synchronicity. Fujisawa reading aloud and Kikumi kind of voicelessly, just her lips moving. "Uzumi Bia, Kage ni wa kyaku no kageboshi. The banked fire, the shadow of the guest is on the wall. That's all we see.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And finally, Lady Camilla.
So the scene opens in what appears to be like a solicitor's office, wood paneling and lots of books, legal tomes on the shelves, and there is a solicitor there, bald man, elderly, with little spectacles on, and he's reading a piece of paper in front of him out loud. But you can't really hear what he's saying because it's kind of whoa, muffled. And then the camera turns a little and you see that in the two chairs facing the desk are seated Sean LeBron, O'Sullivan, and Mr. Hughes, Nicholas. And they have expressions on their face that are just shocked. And then for a moment, the voice is clear and you hear the solicitor's voice, and it's really Lady Camilla's voice. I wanted you to be taken care of and sincerely hope that you will also take care of one another in my absence. You are both so very special. And then it switches to the scene just outside the solicitor's office in the hallway, and there's a wooden bench and the two men are sitting there and there's some papers on their laps. And Sean LeBron begins to cry, kind of silently, and his big shoulders are kind of heaving. And Nicholas puts his arm around him and whispers in his ears as he cries, and just comforts him. And that's where it goes to black.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone. That was a great session, and it's been a great campaign. Thank you all for playing. Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going to stop our recording now.